Hi everybody, it's Eileen, aka Goodbye Fatso here. It's been about 6 days since my surgery, and I have been meaning to post for a little while, but just haven't really gotten around to actually sitting down with my phone to post. So while I'm waiting in the pickup line to pick up my kids from school, I figured this was a good time to say something. Um, it's like I said, it's been about 6 days. It's been a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. The surgery itself went great. They did the sleeve gastrectomy. They removed my gallbladder. They took care of a couple of other little tiny things along the way. Um, Woke up and I asked, and I got my, and the surgeon kept his promise. I woke up a few hours after I went to sleep. Um, and wasn't even necessarily in all that much pain, just not exactly comfortable. But very, 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 very dry. I had the hardest time for the first day or so. My mouth was dry, my throat was dry. I I don't ever remember feeling that to that extent ever in my life. It felt like I had swallowed an entire package of cotton balls. Um, but the surgery was at 12:45. I woke up somewhere around 3 4. They rolled me in right pretty much right on time. I woke up somewhere around 4 o'clock, and my husband said everything went well. The surgeon, when I spoke to him the next day, said everything went well. Um, and I basically spent until 10 o'clock going dozing on and off, trying to keep myself. I mean, just time would pass. Eventually, they rolled me into my own room. Kind of remember doing that, but not really. I remember waking up looking over every once in a while and realizing that time had passed, but I had no idea how much. And somewhere around 10 o'clock, I had to go to the bathroom. I got up and walked to the bathroom. And when I came back, it was like something magic had happened. I suddenly started feeling like me again. I don't really know if it was just that standing up and getting the circulation going, or what it was exactly. But something just felt right. At that point, my husband felt comfortable leaving me there for the night. When he came back the next morning, I was already sitting up. I had started my sipping regime at around 6 o'clock in the morning, trying to get in as much in as I could. I never would have believed how hard it is to sip and sip and sip and sip when that is the last thing you want to do. I was so not hungry. I was drinking Gatorade. Because it was recommended Gatorade was the first thing to start with, and I just didn't want it. I knew I had to do it because I knew I had to drink it. I knew I had to prove that I could do it before I can go home. I was supposed to go through 1 ounce every 15 minutes. I got lucky some hours and I was able to get 3 ounces in. But for the first couple hours, it was 2 or 3 ounces at most, and I felt like I was like ready to, like my stomach was going to explode. It was so much food, it was so much stuff in my stomach, and I really was going very slowly. I mean, I was keeping it to that 15-minute ounce. If anything, I was going slower than that. It felt like I was constantly sipping, and I just could not get there. Protein shake was even more so. Most hours I was in the hospital, I was averaging somewhere between 2 and 3 ounces. Very, very grateful to the IV because that's the reason I never dehydrated. I was sent home on an IV. Had to do 3 days worth of IV fluids, which ended on Sunday, thankfully, because I couldn't stand that thing. And I'm still really working on trying to get in to have the intake that I'm supposed to have. And that was what they told me ahead of time, that you have to sip this really slowly, that you have to make it last 15 minutes. And I'm like, how can I make 1 ounce last 15 minutes? 1 ounce is a gulp, as far as I'm concerned. No, I still think I periodically have gulps that are bigger than they should, even though they don't necessarily bother me, especially if it's the Gatorade. But, oh my gosh, last night it was the first day I was without the IV, and I was determined I had to get the 64 ounces. Otherwise, I was afraid I was going to be dehydrated and I was going to have to be readmitted. And that was the last thing I wanted to do, especially since Thanksgiving's coming up in a couple of days. And it just, I came home at 50, I came home having completed, having had had a protein shake. And I knew I needed to finish. I had 17 ounces of lemonade that I had already started, and I needed to have 8 ounces of broth in order to make sure I got over that 64 ounces. It took me 2 hours to drink this 7-ounce shake. And 30 minutes after I finished it, I was so bloated. I thought that I would never, ever want to eat anything ever again. I was just that full. And I go downstairs after the kids go to bed, and I'm trying to convince myself to drink this lemonade and then to drink this broth. And it's absolutely killing me. It took me until 11:30. I finally got through it all. I went to the surgeon today. I found out I don't need to worry about that quite as much this first week. As long as I can get myself to 50. It's always better to get 60 or 64, but I don't have to kill myself to get there. As long as that 40 really is the minimum. I really need to make sure I'm getting that 40. The more I can get, the better. And now I feel a little bit better going into the rest of the week. I can kind of take it easy a little bit. I just have to make sure I keep going. But nearly 1 week out, and I am back to my pre-surgery weight at just shy of 300 pounds. I was 299.6 when I went to the hospital, and that's exactly what I weighed in the surgeon's office today. I was 305 pounds when I was discharged from the hospital because of all the fluids, and then I got 3 more days worth of fluids, so I was told not to be concerned. The real question is going to be how much weight am I going to lose when I go back there in 2 weeks. And of course, now that I'm through that initial phase, I'm going to go back to weighing myself as often as I want. So hopefully I'm going to, but in between visits with the surgeon, I lost over 26 pounds. That was over about 3.5 weeks, and that sounds about right, given what I was measuring at home. But everything at this point, everything is going exactly the way it's supposed to go. I am getting the emotional lift by various people who haven't seen me over periods of time, mentioning how much better I look and how much weight I've lost. I have a pre and a day of surgery picture. If I can figure out how to incorporate into this video, I will. If I can't, I will change my profile picture on this vlog to match that picture so that you can see the difference in just changing the food that I eat without having the surgery itself. And now that I've had the surgery, I'm looking forward to seeing when other changes are coming. But that's it for right now. This is Goodbye Fatso saying goodnight. Please feel free to like and to subscribe and all of that stuff, and hopefully we'll get this word about this vlog and help people along the way. Thanks a lot for listening. Bye.